A few things. One is I just put up, I've heard of this movie called Saw, S-A-W. I am not a horror movie. I don't like pain. I don't like suffering. I don't like sick, sadistic games or torture whatsoever. In fact, I'm avidly against it. However, humans are a piece of shit and all fucking virused in the head due to too many people getting into life programming and human consciousness that they weren't even allowed to know exist. But everybody's equal according to shitbags in America. So now we've got problems elsewhere. There was strict rules, regulations, and laws in other lands for a very specific reason, to make sure that everybody knew when it comes to keeping the human consciousness and future stories and way of treatment, no matter where they wake up, making sure they have food, shelter, clothing, and a life worth living, and that story being told correctly for everyone in the proper order and manner. But because of your last history of stories, there's been a real drama problem, and then payback switches and whatnot of, we watched this, we did the forensics crime lab on the way in, which is how you get your overhead whatever papers that you all use to do your, like, oh, we're the heroes. No, you're fucking not. So I found Jigsaw, not a clip, but a gentleman doing what I do. I guess he does the synopsis, synopsis, SIS. It's where you know, I mean, in this instance, it looks like, I mean, I call it the Bermuda short story. Just give me the Bermuda Triangle short story. I know it's involved. I know what transpired in order to get us where we are. Where are you in your Bermuda short story? Because, like, I know the godly place of commonwealth and common health and common issues at the moment from Crime Lab elsewhere before we came to human, and that we try to simultaneously do in however you walk two realities at once in order to fix one woman's life with one man that then takes care of whatever else needs to be done. But you viraled the extraterrestrial equipment and system of keeping humans healthy by letting too many humans know and in to a very close-knit circle for a very specific reason. So on this Jigsaw thing where the guy is sitting there, it reminds me of the human story. It's like, here's the truth, okay? You have, say, one family, which is whatever you woke up in, and they have a past. You can only really verify the people you spoke to, and you're hoping that the memory that was placed and deep-seated in their heads, like gardening, is really what they went through and didn't change over time, or the meaning or the emotion, the notion and emotion of their motion as they went through life, that then they passed down and then they passed down. Because it seems to me, when I did forensics lab and accounting on the way in and watching over you, is that you seem to get really dark, angry, and jaded as you went in. And I say jaded because I know who got in and started touching shit in fucking facial disfigurements that are not white and they're not allowed to touch. But they play Jigsaw games. That's your first three with, like, lots of drama. Right, because they're, like, testing out new theories and equipment because they're not gods. They're not smart enough, and that's not a challenge. It just, they're not equipped. It's putting broken pieces in charge of a correction and a solution. What do you think a broken person is going to program for your children and your children's children and you living at any given point? Right, they're going to program more broken things because they're mad about something. They have it all wrong. They're going to mess up, and then you're going to pay the consequences. That's why we don't take chances at wizards, witch, warlock, and human consciousness and the living equipment in the commonwealth of godly things. We don't allow or associate any of those disgusting beings in our business, private or otherwise. We don't promote things that we know are going to be a security, a personal security. How do you protect intellectual property of a human when you give plastic manufacturing ability to one particular human's enemy? So I know I have a facial disfigured white version of myself somewhere that plays that Jigsaw character that likes to torture me and the beings that look like me that are white and not facially disfigured. Being Jew, Catholic, Christian, Muslim, there's some others because they're spread all throughout the lands. So I'm just curious. Why would you give a facially disfigured person a God's job? Right, okay, so my synopsis, my forensics on the way in, I mean, it was documented, and I don't always have the runic and druidic writing. Most of my stuff is in cartouche, C-A-R-T-O-U-C-H-E, as I drew with honeycomb between the two deltas. And then the linear style fashion, but on multiple planes of 7 spectrum light pattern and so on and so forth. The synopsis for the Bermuda short story, if you look at the Jigsaw thing, it's how did you, the guy, I could only get through 8 minutes of it because he just talks way too much. I don't like listening to humans. Like, you guys just, nothing important, but I mean, whatever, the moving images and then the words that he used gave me enough in 8 minutes. I'm like, oh, right, okay, so that goes with the cartouche that we put together, almost like a black square that goes over one another, which is the deadly accurate. How do you know? That's how I know. Because I can see their sequencing issues, and I can see them jumping sequence and messing and interfering with other sequences of other humans, and then stealing things, and then jumping back into their own sequence. And this is a crime lab that is not human, so it's kind of like, I mean, how do you explain how you know in your system that you shouldn't really have to disclose or describe to other humans to realize what your importance is in a royal commonwealth of humans when you are more superior than the things that are running the commonwealth at this point and all throughout time, that still in year 2020 has not acknowledged your existence nor paid for any of the services that they use or they claim to use in order to try to fix the system. That's at the like establishment level of like, what are your purpose here in a United Kingdom? I saw Harry wrote something about he's going to try to work on fixing Commonwealth problem. Yeah, which one? I'm just curious. We've been telling you that you're out of sequence and we've got real fucking problems with shitbags around the world while you just fucking sit pretty between your grandmother, your father, and your brother. I'm just curious, like, are you the only fucking royals that are like useful? Or, like, the only ones that America trusts. So why did you let so many shitbags into America? Because we let you know that was going to be a real fucking issue, too. What, you didn't like who was more superior than you all? Notice that. Nobody gives a shit. Everybody cares about their families and whatnot that are dying of cancer, taking pills that they didn't need to take, driving machines that they didn't need. They would have taken the better life, more quiet, and that they could have enjoyed as people and humans rather than having to go to air-conditioned rooms, to sit in front of a bright screen, to talk on a phone in customer service, nobody gives a shit, and doing menial jobs of, they didn't do anything. They just caused more harm to the world. So where's your importance? I'm just curious. And how fucking quickly do you work? Because 41 years after bloody fucking obvious on the way in seems like a little like excess. When am I getting NICKLAUS? You want to call him NICKLAUS, Eric, $1 Million Hottie, $1 billion hedge fund? I don't give a shit. He's from Kingsguard Beyond. All I know, all that matters. There's only 2 of us in the whole entire universe, 1 male, 1 female, from deep dark space elsewhere in another density, which is where we prefer to go back to get out of this fucking science project that you all fucked up and we don't want to be in. So, when is he coming for me? Just curious, because Tia Frio, Romer, never mattered, never will, and there's just punishment attached to all of those that made profits off of the 41-year fucking nightmare that I had to live through. And, like, the quicker the better as far as, like, fucking pushing off on all of the fucking shitbags that made money and just sat and did fucking nothing. And waited, or made excuses, or let the fucking facially disfigured get further into an agenda that is even more dangerous. Because now you have breaking more, and nobody really knows the level of crime that they're up to. Except some of us do, but when nobody fucking acknowledges us, it's a little difficult on the Fidelis. Just saying. From New York, with everything in my visual acuity and my Coptic read from the Osiris Project. So, I have no paycheck. I have no supplement. Commonwealth doesn't give me anything. It just sucks my entire 41 fucking years, and it's like, oh, go try and figure it out on your own. Well, we make sure that we block every avenue and every route you ever try from you being successful, and purposely give the shitbags more advantages than you. Right, yeah, okay, great. So, I'm over that. So when are we fucking fixing this? Like, when is NICKLAUS coming? Like, nobody gives a shit about your opinions, your judgments, what your broken fucking head case says, what board you sit on, what religion you practice, how much you thought was in your banking account, right? All I give a shit about is, can you pick up the phone, call him and say, just go pick her up, we're good? Yeah, that's all that fucking ever mattered. So, like, go.